Hello and welcome to another Blender Sushi tutorial. This is gonna be another live noding, and I will be using animation nodes to show you what I'm doing. Today we'll do something that's a little bit more fun. It's kind of I made this kind of like a kind of eye configurations where the eyes kind of looking all over the place, and then suddenly the eyes looking at one point, which is the camera. It was actually it was inspired by the Tokeru Wiki artwork. I believe it was made using Houdini or Maya. I think it's using Houdini. So we will do the same setup. Let's just jump into it, and you will see what's going on real soon. We're gonna need something like icosphere. So it's more like a relaxing, slow pace. Slow paced live noding, so relax and just have a look. It's gonna be fun. Before we are using eyes, I will use cone for now. Cone like that, and just leave the pivot like that. Maybe make the cone smaller, right? And actually let's move it up. Scale it in Z a little bit so it's like that. With the cone we can see the pointing arrow. So we're gonna switch to animation nodes and create a new node. We have our icosphere guy here. Let's source the mesh data. Object mesh data. Yep. The icosphere, and we can loop through the vertices and get a vertex info. Get that guy, and we can have the normal that we can use to make the pointing part. But for now, that's not the main point. Actually, let's do that. Object instancer. Create new iterators in the object list. Pipe in the object list. Our objects will be that guy. How many do we need? Some. And for the position, object transform output. Pipe in the location, and pipe in our object copies. And with the rotation, of course, automatically the normal goes in, and we have something like that. So let's save this, and eyes on me. Save. Create an empty. What's our empty gonna be? Sphere, I guess. Spheres. So sphere is gonna be our look at controller. How to create look at? That's an interesting lesson in itself. At first, I was thinking too hard to get the points, but actually the pointing part is actually really easy, since we have it's more like a vector math kind of thing. So if we have these points in the space and it has a vector position, right, we can source that position, object transform input, and get this guy position, location, rotation, scale. Super handy. We can pipe it in as instead of iterating, we can just create a parameter because it's a one value. I believe that's correct. So that's our empty location. It's kind of like master location, a single value that we can then use a vector math. If we use the vector position of each point and then the master locations, and we subtract it, and then we probably normalize it. Is it normalized? Yes, normalizing thing is a good idea. Normalize the normal, and then let's see if this actually works. Boom. It seems like it's almost working, except that it's going the opposite way. Okay, yeah, I'm correct. This is working. Cool. Let's move this guy to another layer. Let's move this guy to another layer. We have this happening. So that's already working. Super cool, super easy. Next, we just need like an eyeball, but before I do that, I'm gonna have, do we have something like a Euler, animate Euler? Huh, surprisingly we actually have animate Euler, and we kind of can transition between the two. So let's do that. So we can transition. What's happening right now is we can see all the cones pointing out, following the normal of our icosphere. But as we transition, now the cones look into our sphere, and the duration is kind of interpolates, how long it interpolates between the two values. This is really cool. This is the basis of animations, just a little bit more complex. Because with animation, right, with animation you have time and value, the value that change over time, and you have value that's changing, and you have this guy. So the start value and the end value is just the vector. It's a Euler. It's a complex thing is happening when it's converting from vector into Euler rotation, and this direction to rotation, I really like that node a lot. It can convert from normal into Euler, basically. Vector into rotations, something like that. So with the time should be, because this is a time base, you can use this as, yeah, you can actually delay the value if you don't want it to start from 0. Super cool, super easy. If you want to wiggle, listen, I like the wiggle Euler, and then of course we can use the index piping into, sorry, index goes into the seed, evolution is going to be the time, the Euler. This is okay. Let's organize our node a little bit. So this is calculating. So this guy down there. So let's see if this works. Control N. No. It's a Command G. What's a node group? Grouping a node. Join in the new frame. Okay, Control J. Control J will frame this guy right there. Vector math. This calculates the look at vector. This guy is looking at the vertex point, the normal of each point, and that's gonna be the direction of the cone. With Euler wiggle, of course, we can mix this guy mix this guy and Euler, the crazy Euler. Mix the two and then pipe it into there. Can we mix the Euler? Is it a Euler Math? Euler Math. We have. So Euler Math also really useful. So Euler is crazy, of course. It's doing this crazy thing. Kind of you can control the amplitude of how much it's going crazy. Evolution is gonna be the time. So let's do frame. It's the time. Our time goes into the evolutions. The speed 5. Let's play back the time. Yeah, Euler doing crazy stuff on top of the normal, so it's kind of randomizing it slightly. Okay, we can make this. I believe you can make the icosphere smaller. Yeah. So it's that guy doing crazy thing. Let's bring our cone back to layer 1. I wanna quickly create an eyeball. Let's create an eyeball. It's gotta be a UV sphere. The UV is sphere. It's called UV sphere because it has pole at the top, and we can use it as an eyeball to create an eyeball. So let's call this guy eyeball object, and then we're gonna create a material. Our white. This is a white material, and we want, of course, to have the black. Let's just have the pupil. This eye with pupil is cartoony eyes, and we're gonna select just the face. We selecting. Okay, I'm pressing A to select and deselect all. C is this kind of paint kind of selection. Escape. With this, be careful. You might select the back. You want to turn this thing on or off, so it's gonna limit our selections only to what we see, not the back. C to paint the eyeball like that, and while that thing is selected, I can now select you. Okay, let's do that again correctly. C and then paint, escape. While that guy is selected, let's create another material. It's gonna be the black color eyeball. It's black material is the pupil. It's the whole of the eyes. And assign it. Here we have our eyeball. If it's edgy like that, we want to smooth it, shade smooth. I just tap on spacebar and shade smooth it. So we have our eyeball. The eyeball is already pointing in the correct directions, following the cone, so that's cool. Let's save this. Eyeball. This guy, everything works. Let's grab the eyeball and put it there. So we have our crazy eyes happening. This is, some people might get shocked by looking at this. It's kind of like it's like the lotus flower. The lotus seed is like this, and it's got a hole, and then the things that comes out is the seed. It's really kind of disgusting design. I believe it's one of nature weird thing. So you can push this already. Some people might see this and then scream. So I'm sorry about that. But someone just need to make this and create this in Blender. Yeah, so we can have our crazy eyes looking everywhere like that. Some people call that shape. It looks like the Apple Watch as well. But and you can have the wiggle happenings as long as you like, and then you change the time. Suddenly the eyes is looking at that point. Yeah, that's the effect I want to show you actually. It's looking might need a way to, maybe it needs to be really far away, or maybe the icosphere is too, if the eyeball is that big, how can they look? Okay, let's select the icosphere. The eye is too big. Let's see. Scale. Let's scale the eyes. Of course, we have control over the eyeball and make the icosphere smaller. Make the eyeball. That's probably better. Yeah. It's kind of really bizarre kind of effects, but it's really fun. And then now you know how to do it using animation nodes. That should be a node. I think it's called a look at me control. But this is a, yeah, again, it's a good study of Euler, point normal, and vector, how everything works nicely. If you want everything to be working procedurally, you can actually use something like a delay time. See, at this moment it says the time we can control, right? But the duration is 20 and it's only going from 0 to 20. Delay time actually will allow you to offset the time. You can actually delay the eyeball one by one, kind of give it more natural effects. That's for later tutorial, I guess. Time, we can delay the time. Let's say for 40 seconds, eyeballs, just do your thing. I like the eyeballs slightly bigger, actually, like that. And then suddenly it changed and look at into 1 point. The duration is around 10 frames. And actually, if you, instead of using linear, you can have all kind of different animation curve, or you can provide your own animation, of course. Maybe I should show that. So you have like a linear, blah blah blah, sinusoidal, back, bounce. Back is the coolest one. That works all the time. And yeah, see, eyeballs moving like crazy, and suddenly it looks, and then there's like a bounce. I like that a lot. If with the animation curve, animation curve, it's say curve, F curve. Evaluate curve, combine curve object output, interpolate from curve mapping. I believe this simply just plug into there, and you can have your own animation curve. So it's in, that's how it interpolates now. You can have like a weird bounce. Yeah, it's every, so that's, again, it's up to you. You can just simply use back, and then this is the in and the out options you can have. And yeah, so let me just name this frame and call it look at me vector. That's a vector wiggle. Vertex info, the normal gets into that, and so on and so on. So this is a good, really good lesson to understand a little bit about normal and look at you can use a vector to create a look at me controller, and using vector wiggle and Euler math, complex things and much simpler thanks to Blender, thanks to animation nodes. Yeah, all procedural, all ready. And you can hide this guy, and since this is Blender, you can have ambient occlusion in real time, hide everything. Maybe you can replace the point as your camera, and let's just do that for fun. So instead of that point, I want you, instead of that empty, look at the camera. And now if we select our eyeball and then view, align view to active, view selected, align camera to active to view, align active camera to view. Let's do that. Lock camera to view. Camera view. That's actually our second camera. So we okay. Select our original camera. Okay. Now the eyeballs are looking into camera. Let's do that. Make this slightly bigger. Actually, should we make it full screen? Okay. What's the playback? It's Alt A, so I'm gonna make this full screen. Oh wait, toggle window full screen. I believe I can just use Control and left. No, that's actually Mac thing. Gonna switch to 3D full view. It's our eyeball looking into the camera, and Alt A is the playback, and then you can see our eyes going. Oh, okay, it's not looking into the camera, so our camera is there. Let's go back to the default. Okay, that's the effect. Hope you like this effect, guys and girls. If you're watching this, hopefully you like this video tutorials, and please subscribe to the BLENDERSUSHI YouTube channel if you like this video, and I'll make more. And hope you like this effect.